So good morning students. The next topic is control flow statements. So control flow statements, the name it defines, it controls the flow of execution. Whenever you have a different statements in your program, it go on a flow. So these control flow statements are used to control the flow of execution, flow of execution of a statement. So basically of two types, conditional and unconditional. So conditional means we have to specify the condition. So without specifying condition also some flow may be controlled. Okay. So in the conditional we have a decision making or selection statements. The second category is iterative or looping statements. Okay. So in the decision making or selection statements we have a if as well as switch. In the if we have if else ladder, and after that nested if all are there. So if and switch are the main in the decision making or selection statement. When it comes to the iterative, so three kinds of looping statements are there: do, while, for. And in the jumping statements, so there are two types. One is a break and continue. So this is the flow diagram of the control flow statements. Again I am repeating, control flow statements are nothing but they control the flow of execution of a program. So when it comes to the selection or decision making controls flow statements, so if statement is the first one. In the if we have these four types: simple if else, if ladder, after that nested if. So selection means so based on the condition we have to select one path to execute. That is nothing but a decision making. So when it comes to the simple if, the syntax is defined as like this: if condition and opening of a bracket and a set of statements here. Okay. So the the purpose of this if statement is nothing but so if these statements will execute based on the condition. If the condition is true, these statements will execute. So this is the flow chart of the simple if. So we will start the program execution. If we find any condition, if it is true, then execute the statements inside the block, and if it is the fall, we can go with the end. Okay, means if the condition is a true only, we can go and execute the statements. So we won't do anything when the condition is false. So this is an example for the if statements. We already know how a Java program template is there: public, class name. So class name, public means access specifier, and a public static void when string argument. This is the compulsory method in the Java program, that is a main method. So where we are defining one variable, that is age, equal to data type variable name equal to 0, assigning 20 integer literal to the integer variable. Okay, all we completed, just I am remembering you. Okay, so if now the simple if starts. If age is greater than is an operator. Okay, so relational operator, right? Age is greater than 18. Already we have a age 20. Okay, now we are accessing the value age 20 is greater than 18. Yes, it's true. So this is the condition in the parenthesis. This is the condition. If age is greater than 18, yes, 20 is always greater than 18. That means this condition results in the true value. If condition true means, so this is the statement to be executed. Okay, age is greater than 18. That is the statement to be executed. And when it comes to the if else means this is the syntax. So in the previous simple if when the condition is true, then the statements to be executed are this. Okay, what about the false? So if you want to place statements to be executed, even though if the condition is true or false, so if condition is true, these are the statements to be executed. If false, no conditions are to be executed here. If you wish to execute statements even though the condition is false, then in that case we have a if else. If condition is true, then these are the statements to be executed. If condition is false, then else part is going to execute. Okay, so the purpose is nothing but so executing the statements when the condition is true, as well as executing the statements when the condition is false. Okay, so that is about if else. So this is the flow chart. Start of the execution, condition we are checking. If true, statements to be executed. If false, statements to be executed. We end the program. Okay, a block of statements execution. So this is the program. So all you know in C language. So don't worry. So what is there in here and what is the difference? Nothing is different. Okay. So nothing is different. In the C we don't have any class, main method. Main method with this syntax you don't have, but the remaining everything is similar. So class, if else example we are doing. So here we are defining a program for the odd or even number. What is odd or even? If remainder equal to 0, then that is a even number. If remainder not equal to 0, then that is a odd number. Okay, that is the thing. So class defined, main method defined. So we are taking a number. So this is nothing but a static. Okay, if you want, by using scanf also you can read that is dynamic, or else you can directly initialize the value int number equal to 30. So where if number mod means it gives the reminder. If a number is divisible by 2, it will give a reminder. Okay. So modulus operator, arithmetic operator, equal to is nothing but so comparison operator also. If 0, so 13 by 2, it gives 1. Okay, so if it gives 1, so 1 is equal to 0? No. So if this condition is true, then we are it is a 10, number is 10. Modulus 2 means 0 equal to 0. If the condition is true, this is the statement to be printed. If actually the number is 13 modulo 2, it will give value 1. So 1 is equal to 0? No, it is a false. The condition is false. So then the else part will going to execute. This is the statement to be executed. So the given number is odd. 13 is actually odd now. Okay, so next, if else if ladder. Okay, so if else if ladder, that can be called like that. So if the same set of conditions we can define here. Okay, not here for if we have only specifying one condition. For if else we are specifying single condition, but only true or false. But we can compare many conditions here in the if else if ladder. Okay, if the condition is true, then these are the going to be executed. Else if this condition is true, so that means presenting more than one condition. Okay, so statements to be executed. Else if how many conditions you have, you can add that much of else ifs. Okay, so at the end, so obviously if is all obviously end with else. Okay, meanwhile you in between if and else you can add else if conditions. Based on the condition you can add else if statements. So that is about if else if ladder. And this is the flow chart. So condition 1, if it is a true, these are the statements to be executed. If the condition 1 is false, so then these are the conditions to be executed. If condition 2 also false, then these are the conditions to be false, and then the next condition to be checked this one. Okay, like this you can place n number of conditions. Okay, so finally if all conditions are failed, false, so okay, then these are the statements to be executed. Okay, so checking one condition. So you can place any number of conditions. That is about if else if ladder. Okay, so this is the example program for the if else if ladder, which meant for grading system. Okay, so for example, based on your marks, you may get grades, right? That is the thing. So class name, main method, and marks we are taking 65 statically. If marks is less than less than 50. So if the marks is less than 50, the grade for you is fail only. Okay, so in between 50 and 60. In between 50 and 60, if you got marks 50 and 55 or maybe 59, so like that, then you may got D grade. So then else if marks is greater than or equal to 60, and so bitwise operators, right? So these are the operators. So 60 and means both true, and means both need to be true. So between 60 and 70, greater than 60, less than 70, then C grade. Greater than 70, less than 80, then B grade. Okay, so greater than 80 and less than 90, A grade. Okay, so if you have a marks 90, greater than 90 and less than 100, then you may get A plus grade. Okay, so if you didn't have any marks, okay, So if you don't have any marks, means in the marks column you didn't find any these kind of marks. Maybe you may have a, sometimes by mistakenly the marks are written as a B, C like that. So then that is nothing but invalid. It should be numeric number only. Okay, numeric number only. So based on the number of marks you may get grades. But if you have other than marks in the marks column or location, then the output is nothing but invalid. So if all these conditions are not satisfied, then this is the thing to be executed. Okay. So if else if, and finally else part. So next one, nested if. What is meant by nesting? Nesting means so including one in another. Okay, placing in one in another. So nested if is nothing but placing if in another if is nothing but a nested if. Okay, so wherever the requirement you can use them. So if this is the if and else this is the else. If else part. If condition and else we don't have any condition. Okay, in the if part you can use if condition statements else. Means in the if else, in the if part you are including another if else thing. In the same way in the else part you are including another if else thing. Okay, so statement. So these kind of presentation or representation, that is nothing but nested if. Nesting means one in another. So this is the thing. So we'll check the condition. If false, okay, so somewhere it go, else part it will reach. If it is a true, again we can check the condition. Okay, if the condition is a true, if the condition is true, some conditions to be executed. I means you can nest any number of if statements. Okay, so nested if means it can be limited. You can include any number of if inside another if else. Okay, so if the condition is true, if the condition is true, then we will go this part, not this part, else part. So if the condition is true, we go here. Again, if the condition is true, we will execute the statements true, these statements. If the condition is false, so we can go with the else part, else statements. If condition is failed here, then we will go with the else part. In the else part, if we condition, we check the condition. If this condition is true, these statements to be executed. If the condition is false, then these statements to be executed. So that is actually represented in the flow chart. Okay. So example. So int age equal to 20 and weight equal to 80. Okay. So if age is greater than or equal to 80, so greater than or equal to, whenever we have these kind of, so 20 is greater than 18. Okay, that is okay. So when we included two operators, at least one should be true. Okay, so that means obviously age is greater than. No need to be equal. So age greater than or equal to 0. And after that weight 80 here, greater than 50. Yes, both are true. Both conditions true. Then you are eligible to donate blood. Okay, that is the thing. Nested if, in the simple if we are including another simple if. We didn't specify any else part here. So that is about if. So control flow statements are nothing but used to control the flow of execution. So in the selection or decision making, we have if and switch. If and switch. All if, the four kind of ifs are there: simple if else, if else if ladder, nested if. Okay, after that switch, all you know in the C language, don't worry. So only the syntactical things are differ. So switch. So what is a switch? So we can the same if else ladder we have now already discussed, that can be represented in different way. Okay, based on the expression. So this is just like a condition. So this condition will matches the values one. Okay, then the statements to be executed, and we can break the statements with that case. So this is just like a if else if ladder only. Okay, so in place of if else if ladder, you can also use a switch. Okay, so both are similar. So switch expression, it should be numerical only. After that, case is not even syntactical issue. Case we have to, so it should be value 1, it should be matched with the expression. So statement 1, like that you can specify. So many number of statements, cases you can present, that there is no limit. In the same way, at end, if all cases are not matching, like if so here all, if all conditions are not matched, then we can go with the else part, right? Here also, if all cases are not matched, then the statements to be executed by default is nothing but a default label. Under default label, these are the statements to be executed. So for default, no need to specify the break, or else if you want, you can specify the break. Okay, so if you want to provide many number of conditions, you can go with either if, else if ladder, or else a switch. Okay, so switch statement. So this is the flow chart for the switch. So expression, if it matches with the case 1 statements to be executed, and a break will go end. Okay, if it matches, if it is unmatched with the case 1, we'll go with the case 2. If it is unmatched, we can go with the case n. Okay, if all cases are not matched, then we can go with the default statements to be executed and break. Break is not here optional for the default case. Okay, so we will go end. So all you know already. So for example, with the switch, class name, main method, number we are taking 20, switch number means this number should be present here. Okay, so maxit is a numerical only. So int number we are taking statically, switch number means this is an expression. So now case 10 means if this number is matched with the case 10, and case this expression value mean what are the different cases we have, conditions. If it is equal to 20, is equal to 10, is equal to 20 or 30. Okay, like that we are placing the cases. Case is a syntactical issue, case should be placed in the switch. Okay, so case 10, case 20, case 30. So if the number is equal to 10, these are the statements to be executed, and we will go with the break. Okay, that means if the condition is true, so we just get out of this particular flow of the control flow. So if the case is matched with the 20, these are the two statements to be executed, and we can break and come out. Okay, so case 30, statements to be executed, break. Okay, if this is the default, if these three cases didn't match with the given expression, switch expression, so then default thing to be executed. Okay, break is optional. So number 20 means 20 matches, so 20 will give as an output. Okay, so that is about a switch. And in the switch we have some variation, that is nothing but a fall through. Okay, so fall through switch statement. What is meant by fall through? If you didn't specify any break, okay, so if you didn't specify any break, what will happen? So if 20 match, you just want to get out because of break we are breaking the flow of the execution. But if you didn't specify any break here, what will happen? So from starting to from wherever the case matches, from here not 10, 20 matches. After 20 we will execute 30, and finally we will go with the default. Okay, that means all statements after the matching case will execute if you didn't specify break. Okay, so that is called as a fall through, very important. No? So it means it execute all statements after the first match. If a break statement is not present, after the first match only. So we have a case 10, so we have a 20, we have a 30. So where the match is actually happening, so there is a mistake here. I have to remove break here. So fall through is means so in general switch syntax, we need to specify the break. If you didn't specify break means what happening, that is entirely called as a fall through switch, which means so after first match all remaining all statements to be executed. So why? Because we didn't specify any break. That means 20 30 not in 10 20 30 will be printed as an output. So we didn't get any 10. Why? Because the first matching is happening from the 20. Okay, if you go with the previous example, so the number is 20, the case 20 matches, it will print only 20. Okay, but here so 20 matches, 20 print, but we don't have any break here. Then go with the case 30, 30 will print, and after that go with the default not in 10 20 30 will print. Okay, so that is about decision or selection statements. Next one, looping control flow statements. Looping, we have a three kind of looping statements, iteration statements. They are do while, while, for. So we'll go with the for do while first. So you already know this, just we are recalling. So iterate, these are used to iterate as part of a program. Set of statements to be executed continuously, that is nothing but iteration. So if the number of so when we go with the do while, so that is important. So when we go for specific looping statement is very important. So when you are not not fixed how many number of times, you are not decided how many I don't know how many number of times the statements to be executed. So then you can go with the do while. That means number of iterations, how many times a statements to be executed. If it is a 10 times, then you can go with the while. If it is a 20 times, then you can go with the while. If you are not fixed with the specific number, so these many times I need to iterate. So if you have that much of a decision value, then you can go with the do while. So if the number of iterations is not fixed and you must have to execute the loop at least once, okay, so it is recommended to use a do while. Okay, so in the do while, so the number of statements, even though condition is a true or false, that is not considered here. At least one time the do while loop will execute the statements. Okay, so here this is the syntax: do code to be executed while condition. Here after the execution of a statements, we are checking the condition. That means the statements will execute at least once, then only we will check the condition. If it is a true, then we will repeat the iteration. If it is a false, we will end with the iteration. Okay, semicolon is important. So many people are missed with the after while condition, you have so many people missed with this semicolon. Okay, so this is the flow chart. So statements, then check the condition. If it is true, then go with the statements. So otherwise it will go with the false. Okay, so example, so int I equal to 1 we are taking. So do while condition we specified, semicolon also we specified, system dot out dot println for printing the data. So I equal to 1. Okay, I printing means 1. Then I plus plus, that means plus plus means incrementing I value by 1. So then we'll check the condition, is I is less than or equal to 10. Okay, so then so already I value, what happened here, I value already incremented. So what it means, 2, I value become 2. Is 2 is less than or equal to 10? Yes, true. Then it will go for iterative. Means in do while one drawback is that that is nothing but it doesn't irrespective of condition, the statement executes at least one. That is the drawback. But it is only useful in, so if you are not fixed with the how many number of times a program to a loop should be executed. Okay, if you are not fixed with the number, then you can go with the do while. But here at least one time the statements are executed. Okay, irrespective of condition. So Java infinite do while, no. So this is a do while. Infinite means continuously. So without user preferences, then it will execute. If you go with this like this, if you increment I value, whenever it become 11, then the loop will terminate. Okay, So but here if you specify true without, instead of condition, if you specify true in the condition location, then it will execute infinite times, nm, so n many times. So that is the infinite means many, right, infinity times. So that means if you specify the condition till the condition is true, it will loop the statements. But when you specify true, so there is no condition, always it will take true, then that is nothing but continuously infinite times the loop will execute. So this is an example. Okay, so how to break, so infinitely it execute means the output always shows infinite do while loop. Okay, how to break that thing is you can use a Control C from the keyboard. So next one, Java while loop. Java while loop is also an iterative, but if you are here the thing is if you are fixed with the number of iterations, if the number of, okay, this is also same like okay, this is also same like a do while only. If you are not fixed with the number of iterations, so both are similar, but the thing is here at least one time the statements will execute, but here that kind of thing is not there. That means that at least one time is not here in the while loop. Okay, so here also if you are not fixed with the number of iterations, again you can go with the while loop only, but difference is there. In the do while you have at least one time of execution irrespective of a condition, but here that is not happening. First you can check the condition, then the statements to be executed. Condition true means statements to be executed. Okay, so example, I equal to 1, I less than or equal, I 1 is less than or equal to 10, right? So print I plus plus 2, 2 is less than or equal to 10, yes. Okay, so we'll see the execution part of do while while. The thing is it will at least once it execute do while, but it is not happening in the while. So that is about do while while. And in while also we have a infinite, the same thing. So whenever you specify true instead of a condition, it will execute the statements. Looping can be done infinite times, that is nothing but infinite while loop. So that is about a do while. Okay, looping statements. The next one is Java for loop. So it is very useful in any programming languages. If the number of iterations is fixed, so not like do while here if you know the number of iterations to iterate the statements, then you can go with the Java for loop. There are three kind of Java for loops are there: simple for loop, for each, or enhanced for loop, labeled for loop. Okay, so simple for loop, it is same like a C and C++. So initialization, condition statements or increment or decrement are there. So this is the syntax. Initialization, if you want to initialize a loop variable, and you have to specify the condition when the loop should be break, and after that increment of decrement, this loop variable can be done here, and these are the statements to be executed. Okay, so initialization you have to do, condition you have to specify, increment decrement also you have to specify, increment by 2, increment by 1, decrement by 1, decrement by 5. Okay, like that you have to specify statements to be executed. Okay, so this is an example. So it prints the table of 1. So so class name, main method, and int I means loop variable equal to initializing. So here in the loop condition only we initializing the value of I. Int data type I is a variable name equal to 1, I less than or equal to, until I become less than or equal to 10, then the statements to be executed, and for each iteration the I value will be incremented by 1. Okay, I plus plus is nothing but increment by 1. So that is about simple for loop. Okay, nested for loop. Nested means nesting means placing one in another. It is also applicable for if, switch, as well as loops, do while for whatever control flow statements. Nesting is also possible, nested for loop. So with this we have if for in the another for. Okay, but this one, the for int j equal to 1, I less than or equal to 3, j plus plus, this is actually called as a inner loop, and this one is actually called as a outer loop. Okay, so for within the another for is possible, that is called as a nested for loop. Inside for is called as a inner loop, outside loop is called as a outer loop. So first, once the condition of outer loop satisfies, then we will enter into the inner loop. Then inner loop will execute completely. Then we will go with again to the outer loop. Okay, so that is the thing. So Java for each loop. So it may be new for you. For each is used to traverse array or collections in Java. Okay, array, you don't know about collections, I think. So you know about array. Array is nothing but a set of elements of similar type, right? So to traverse element by element in an array, it may be an integer, float, or maybe character, whatever. So we can go with the for each element based on the element. Okay, so not based on the and in general how array elements are stored based on the index, right? Okay, but we can go with the for each loop statement based on the values in the array. Okay, so based on not in the index, only based on the elements in array. Okay, so it returns elements one by one defined. Okay, so to retrieve the elements from the collections, it may be array, stack, okay, linked list, like that. So the syntax is for type means a data type, variable name, and array we have to specify, that means a collection name here. So array we are taking code to be executed. So this is an example. So main class name, main method, array we are declaring. Till now array in Java we didn't complete, the same similar how we have a array in C, the same is happening here also. Okay, no changes. So how to declare an array? So data type, array name, subscripts, and values we are specifying. Okay, we didn't specify any size here, we are just specifying values. So 5 values, 12, 23, 44, 56, 78. Index to start from 0, whereas values are 5. Index is from 0 to 4, values are 5 elements. Okay, so for each means you don't specify each in the syntax, just you can specify for only. And data type, variable name means this is a iterative variable I. So what you need to specify here is collection. It may be array, it may be some other linked list, like that. So you have to specify collection name here. So here we are taking array. Okay, so int I, array means first it will take a 12 value, then it will go for 23, then it will go for 44, then it will go for 56, it will go for 78. Okay, like that is happening. So internally the loop is defined like that, based on the element, number of elements, not on the index. It will take the values. So from the array the values is passed to the I variable, then we are printing the I value. Okay, so remember that for each is used to get the information, the collections. Okay, collections. Array is also one of the collection, means set of elements, maybe same type of some different type. Next one, it is only based on the element values, not on the index. If you want to retrieve the data from the array, you may use index values, 0, it start from 0 onwards, but when comes to the for each, it will go based on the values. So the last looping in subpart in the for is labeled. Labeled means you have to specify the name of the loop. Okay, just like this, label name and for. Okay, so that means for this for loop, simple for only, for this loop we are giving a name. Okay, how we have a names to the maybe classrooms, final year CSE, second year CSE, as name of the department of CSE, like that you are labeling the names for those, right? That like that only. So simple for only, but labeling is happening. So here class main label AA. For this for loop we are giving AA, for this for loop we are giving BB. Okay, So after, nested for is happening. In the nested we are presenting if. Okay, nested means only if within the another if, for within the another if. Don't think like that. So one control statement within the another control statement is possible. That is nothing but a nesting. So here for within the another for is possible, if another within another for is also possible. Okay, so there we are specifying conditions. Okay, break AA. What is AA? This is nothing but loop name, label name. So outer loop, inner loop. In that we have a innermost loop, right? So if the condition is true, then we can go going and breaking the outer loop. Okay, so that is the thing. That means we are transforming the control from here to here. Okay, so that is the thing. So infinite loop also possible. So if one comes to the while and do while, if you specify the true as a condition, then they go with the infinite loop. In the same way, so for syntax is like initialization, condition, increment or decrement. They are separated with 2 semicolons, right? 3 expressions are separated with 2 semicolons. If you didn't specify any initialization, condition or increment, decrement, only if you use 2 semicolons, this is the syntax for the infinite for loop. Okay, so infinite for loop, to execute a statement continuously, then that is nothing but infinite. So only 2 semicolons, no increment, no decrement, no condition, no initialization, anything. Okay, so this is about infinite for loop. How to break the infinite loop? Control C. Okay, so break statement. So break statement is one of the jump statement in Java. Not only in Java, we have it will be useful in different programming languages. So break means breaking the statement. Okay, so executing set of statements. If you specify the break means, so you just break that thing from execution. You just break the execution and just get out. So if it is a switch, you better understand. So the purpose is same for all control flow statements. If it is you can better understand if you go and see the switch. Okay, so here number is 20, then we can match with the 20. So after executing statement, you have to break. You no need to go for again 10, or maybe you no need to go for again 30. So you already checked the 10. So if it doesn't match, we can go with the case 20. If it match, no need to go and check the 30. So break means, so just break the execution. Okay, so that is about a break statement. So to break the loops. Okay, if you have a break statement in the inner loop, it will break the inner loops first. Okay. This is a flow syntax, break, semicolon, and next flow chart. So condition, if it is a set of things are there, maybe based on the condition set of statements to be executed. So if you specify any break, you can breaking the execution flow. Okay, so this is an example. So I equal to 1, I less than or in the for loop we are using break here. So that means I equal to 1, I less than or equal to 10, I plus plus. So I equal to 1, I less than or equal to I less than or equal to 10 means 1 is less than or equal to 10, true. I value 1, is 1 equal to 5? No. Okay, no need to break. So then we'll go and print the statement I, that is 1 is printing. Okay, like that. After that increment is happening, I will become 2. So I 2 is equal to 5? No. So again increment 3 is equal to 5, less than. So condition is checking, incrementing is happening, checking is happening here. Okay, so like that. So I will I value become 5. Okay, 5 is less than or equal to 10. Okay, condition is also true. Okay, then now we will compare I 5 is equal to 5. Yes, it's true. It's true means, so we don't go for further printing of data for 6, 7, 8, 10. We don't want to go and print the data. Okay, we just break and get out. That means get out of the loop for loop. Okay, so what is happening? What is happening means that means if the condition is true, we are breaking, we are stopping the execution of remaining statements. For the next execution, we are giving the break. Okay, how we are going to give the brake for a bike. Okay, it's stopping the execution. Okay, so that is break. Next one, continue statement. Continue is a somewhat quite opposite to the break. Okay, so quite opposite, that means it continues, but the thing is it will skip the condition wherever it becomes true. Okay, skipping is happening means you just skip the specific execution and you will continue. Okay, if you hear I equal to 5, if you become I value, if I value become 5, okay, so then we'll break and we'll get out of the execution. If you use a break here means if I value become 5, will break. Okay, will continue means the I equal to 5 value is not printing. Okay, for remaining from 1 to 4, 6 to 10, we will printing all things except that 5. Okay, so skipping, only this case only we are skipping. Okay, that is happening with the continue statement. So break and continue are like universal jumping statements. Means what is meant by this? You can use these two statements with the decision statements as well as the looping statements. Okay, so no restrictions for usage of these two. So this is the syntax continue alone. Okay, so like break and example, the same example we are taking. So the thing is here we are skipping. If the condition matches, there we are stopping in by using the break, but here we are skipping. This means wherever the condition matches, the particular execution only we are skipping, and for the remaining we will continue. Okay, so that is about today's class.